What's going on, everybody? Josh Callaway here with AllSooners and alongside by John Hoover at the stadium where Oklahoma trying to get ready to get back on track, as with just 3 games left in regular season. The Sooners already have a 4 spot in the loss column. Head to Morgantown this weekend and take on West Virginia, last place team in the Big 12. Something's got to give this weekend up in the home of country roads and West Virginia. On Tuesday, Brent Venables held his weekly press conference to preview the matchup. As he noted, didn't really talk about the matchup too much because we all want to know what's wrong with Oklahoma after their 4th loss on Saturday, especially with the defense continues to be a major issue for the Sooners. Venables, he tried to explain that he feels like more than anything, it's just a lack of experience is the issue above all else.
Yeah, he got a question about the defensive improvements, and he had the roster in front of him, and he had the career starts for each player
on
the defense in front of him, and he went down all 11 of them. He said Deshaun White's the only guy on the defense who has started a lot of games right here in Oklahoma. He's got Jeffrey Johnson's a transfer. He's from Tulane. He started there. C.J. Colden, he was a transfer. He's at Wyoming. He started there. Jonah Lulu out of Hawaii. He started there. David Agwebu hasn't been a long-time starter. Danny Stutzman hasn't been a long-time starter. Woody Washington hasn't been a long-time starter. And then he finished by saying, I'm not making excuses. I'm just telling y'all how it is. I'm laying it out for you. So take that for what you will.
Yeah, he's not wrong. I mean,
right.
It is
Nothing
true.
Wrong about what he said.
Everything he said was factual. It's more just kind of, while David Agwebu and Justin Brules, that was certainly a big one.
6-year guys.
Haven't started that long. Jaden Davis, they've been in the program forever, so you still would hope for more, although what he said was completely accurate. Yeah. It was true. So
they've been in somebody else's program, though.
Right. And that's really maybe the true answer is that they're all still in year 1 of Brent Venables' defense. Yeah. Like we've talked about at length, square peg, round hole with these players who recruited for something different, trying to do what Brent Venables wants them to do. Clearly, it hasn't worked. It hasn't worked at least so far through 9 games.
And there was some consternation on Saturday night about the question I asked, a follow-up question, when he said, we're not physical enough, we're not physical enough, we're not physical enough. I said, Brent, why are you not physical enough? Some people didn't like that, but the fact of the matter is he came out here today and he answered it.
Yeah.
In other words, he said Baylor was more physical than us because, why? Because they're older, more experienced, more mature, and they're more confident when they get in those game situations. They know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly where they're going. They know exactly who they're blocking, all that stuff. The Oklahoma defense, you've got guys standing straight up looking around going, where do I go? What do I do? And that's why they're getting blown off the ball. That's why they're not playing physical.
Yeah, and it was a kind of an interesting, you got to hear Brent Venables' philosophy a little bit on that, because when he says physical, I think naturally, I do, think of it from a pretty simple level of guys being bigger, stronger, faster, and it's more than that. It goes beyond that. That certainly helps, but it's more than that. He rattled off, I think he said himself, like 10 things that go into being a more physical football team.
He illustrated a recruit who is a small guy, he said, but plays physical, plays that physical brand of football that he wants. So that's what his idea of physical is, somebody who takes the fight to them, somebody who is confident in what they're doing and is not afraid of contact, all that stuff. Right.
So you look ahead and Oklahoma trying to get things back on track. Brent Venables insists that, effort's not an issue. More effort with technique is more the issue. And he also said that of all the things that have improved or have stayed positive or gone well this year, he said investment really was the first thing out of his mouth as far as these guys staying committed, not giving up, and not willing to give up on the season. He talked about that at length today as well, saying we're not going to pack it up and some people say 4th loss, season's over, but we're not. That's not how we're going to approach this. We're going to still battle every single week. So at least from that perspective, sounds like everything's holding together, but you need to see it turn around production-wise at some point.
This is a West Virginia team. They're last place right now in the Big 12 conference standings. You do not want to go on the road and lose to the last place team in the Big 12 standings. Guess what? They just beat, a couple of weeks ago, the team that just beat Oklahoma on this field, 43-40 in Morgantown.
Yeah.
That was a night game. This one's a day game, maybe a little bit different.
Yeah, Morgantown, tough place to play. Oklahoma doesn't have hardly anybody on this roster that's been there. Because remember, in 2020,
that's right,
game didn't happen. One of the guys who had been there before, Deshaun White, talked about it yesterday. He said that what he remembered the most was having some really good cornbread out there in Morgantown, which I appreciated that. C.J. Colden said the only thing he really knows about West Virginia is that they wear coonskin hats up there.
And it's out in the middle of nowhere.
So most of this team is going in pretty blind this weekend. They did talk about the fact that they know they like to throw the football a lot. JT Daniels, and look, Oklahoma, they've said it all year, right? They get everybody's best shot. They get everybody's game 7. This is a desperate football team they're playing this weekend. Neil Brown is firmly on the hot seat. There were some rumors that he was going to maybe be let go this week. Didn't happen. He is going to coach this weekend. Oklahoma's got to be prepared to face a team that's going to lay it all out on the field on Saturday.
Yeah, what if they fire Neil Brown? I mean, would that be 2 coaches that Oklahoma gets fired this year? They fired Scott Frost.
Well, they fired Scott Frost before
the game.
Yeah.
Right, but this would be after the game. What a weird situation this season is.
I thought we were going to get 4 interns in 2 years because remember we had Matt Wells was let go before the Tech game last year, and then obviously Mario Cristobal left Oregon, so it would have been 4 interns in 2 years. But Neil Brown still there. Oklahoma, West Virginia this weekend. I mean, any thoughts? West Virginia, they're not very good, but like you said, they beat Baylor. I mean, they've had moments.
Well, their defense isn't very good, but they've got skilled playmakers on offense led by JT Daniels, the USC transfer. Where else was he? Georgia
versus the UCF transfer. Yeah, Georgia originally.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's quarterbacks these days, they're all over the place. But no, they've got some good players. They've got talented. They've got a kind of a 3-man rushing attack. They've got distribute the football to a lot of different receivers.
We'll see. We'll see.
They're explosive.
They got some players, and like I said, they've had moments. They beat Baylor just a few weeks ago. We saw what Baylor did to Oklahoma on Saturday. So who knows? Who knows what we're going to get? It's been that kind of season. You have no idea what Oklahoma's going to look like week to week. One thing, they have been pretty good on the road this year. Sans obviously that TCU game where Gabriel got hurt. One in Lincoln, one in Ames. Then they can recapture that magic again on Saturday in Morgantown.
Results-oriented business.
Yeah,
That's what we learned from Brent Venables today.
He did. He said they're looking at the results is maybe a little too shallow, but he acknowledged it is a results-oriented business. Oklahoma needs to get more wins in the win column. That's a given, and you still need one more to get to ball eligibility, and you just don't want to be flirting with that.
Yeah.
Let just get that 6th win.
Well, with Oklahoma State, Texas Tech coming up, no, and you got to go to Lubbock. You do not want to be needing that last win with those 2 guys coming up.
Exactly. So, going to be interesting. Brent Venables said that they would name permanent captains for postseason play. I was thinking, man, you got to get another win before you get there. Not exactly a given with the way the team's played this year. Very inconsistent, obviously, for Oklahoma this season. So, it'll be the Sooners and the Mountaineers on Saturday, second to last road game of the year up there in Morgantown. I'll be hanging back on this one, but John Hoover will be up there along with Ryan Chapman at Milan Pusker Stadium?
Milan Pusker.
Milan Pusker Stadium up there in Morgantown. It's definitely unique. It's unlike anywhere else in the Big 12. Should be fun. Who knows what's going to happen on Saturday. Noon start up there in Morgantown. You can sleep a little bit more. It's a little bit better than 11 a.m. Up there in the land of the Mountaineers. Oklahoma, West Virginia on Saturday. AllSooners.com, your place to be on Oklahoma game day. Tons of coverage there for you leading up to the start of that ball game all throughout the week. And, of course, during the game, the live blog, full post-game reaction afterward from Brent Venables, coaches, players, game stories, all that good stuff that you know to expect on AllSooners. So that's it for now. Hoover and Ryan will see you in Morgantown. For John Hoover, I'm Josh Callaway.